Chapter 1. Most turn the other way at the sight of me. Scales were never in style, I suppose. I'm a mistress of my names. I've worn many identities and many lives on this disgusting wasteland we call home. Call me Sinopa, for now. It's the first name I ever knew and where my story begins. It all started in a tavern. Cliché, right? I can hear the groans now. Out of all the places in the land of Kana, it had to be a tavern. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is sometimes. Poor expectations bury poor reality and vice versa. People can't seem to see past their preconceived misconceptions, and I get that. First impressions are everything, and first impressions of me, well, let's just say they're not the best. We served and cooked at the Cat's Meow, a nearby tavern our Aunt Maud owned. Being in Helioshire, it was one of those dingy dives where the food was crap, the people were crap, and, you guessed it, the prices followed suit. Lanterns at each table lit the interior. Drunks and all breeds of bozos crowded them like moths to a flame. Sadly, even though this was my first night in town, this wasn't my first time working in the restaurant business. I guess I should have known what I was getting into, but I had hoped life would be better on the cusp of the bustling inner city. How wrong I was. As I threw on my apron, I realized that manners and courtesy, even here, were a second language. The clients were just as charming, as usual, spitting slurs, drooling, hungover at the bar, and vicious flirting. The naive teenager that I was, I soaked it all in like a sponge. This was my life. I kept a smile on my face through everything and became a human doormat, or whatever I was, because even I didn't know. I suppose it comes with being a foster child as well. I never knew my true age, but I gathered I was 17 to 19 years old. I scrubbed that bar until I could see myself in it. I was young then, bright, bubbly, and stupid. My scales glowed an lustrous cherry red, and my auburn curls bunched around my horns. Sadly, some patches of hair were hopelessly tangled in knots. I stood a whopping 5 feet tall, but heels helped. That night, my foster sister Angela manned the kitchen. She said, "Gosh, Sinopa, the place is falling apart as it is. The last thing we need is your cooking." She always was Mother's favorite. "Nice to see you, too." Anyway, I had the bar to myself, with a fake smile plastered on my face. I wiped bile and booze off the hardwood bar. I'd spent many a night wiping them beauties. I gazed out over the floor, looking at the men gathered around eating together. I sighed. As with any dumb teenage girl, relationships mattered. I was alone. Sailors gathered around, spinning yarns. Fathers and sons bonded over beer, and couples exchanged sweet nothings. But love remained elusive for me. I was different, and people treated me as such. The fact is, it was at this very bar that I met the start of my troubles. A man sat down at the end of the bar with his head on his arm. He held an empty shot glass in his free hand. His hair hung in ferocious amber streaks like a lion's mane. His black frock coat was ragged. It draped long and open with a hood and collar in the back. "Hiya," I said, waving over his slumped body. No response. "Hey," I said hello. His eyes blinked up at me. They were wild emerald fields. "Can I get you a drink?" "No. Now beat it, lizard wench." "Sheesh, friendly, aren't we?" His head dropped again, then he said, "I don't want to hear it. Tell you what, give me the hottest scotch you got, and hold that ice, will you? People around here are cold enough as it is." I laughed louder than I should have. Maybe it was his striking eyes. As he reclined, drinking his shot, a familiar wooden handle stuck out of his coat. "I see you have a flintlock there." He wiped his mouth and closed his jacket. "What of it?" "Nothing. Just thought it was neat. I have one like it." "Ha, that's a good one. I'll have to remember that. A scaled beast like you with a sophisticated gentleman's rifle. Boy, that's rich. You're cute, you know that?" "But it's the truth." "Look, kid, I don't want to entertain whatever delusions you're having. Leave me alone, capiche?" "Sorry to bother you then." I turned to leave. "Hey, don't walk away. Unless the drink's free, that is."